A 92-year-old man sat down and said something that hasn't left my head since. He was talking to people who are 60, and somehow every single word was about me. A 92-year-old man sat down and said something that hasn't left my head since. He was talking to people who are 60, and somehow every single word was about me. This man, I'm going to call him Frank, is 92 years old. And he gave this talk where he basically looks at everyone sitting around feeling sorry for themselves and says, "You are not old. You are just scared." Now, his audience is 60-year-olds, people who feel like life is already done. And me? I'm in my 20s. On paper, I have nothing to worry about. But the things Frank said, I felt every single one of them. Because the same trap that catches 60-year-olds, it starts at our age. And nobody tells us that. So today, I'm going to break down his 4 lessons and show you why they matter even more when you're young. Frank calls it the wrong bus lie. Here's how it works. You get on the wrong bus. Maybe you picked the wrong degree, wrong job, wrong relationship, wrong group of friends. And you ride it for years because you've already paid the ticket, because you've already put the time in. And you tell yourself, I can't quit now. I'll throw it all away. Frank's answer is brutal and simple. If you're 500 miles in the wrong direction, does it make sense to keep riding the bus just because you paid for the ticket? No, you get off. You walk back. Yeah, you're miles behind, but at least you're finally going somewhere real. He says something that, don't honor a mistake just because you spent a long time making it. If you're 22 and you're already on the wrong bus, the greatest gift you have is that you haven't been riding it for 30 years. Cut the line right now before it costs you another decade. Okay. So why don't people get off the bus? Frank says it's not the money, it's not the energy, it's the ego. You like being the person who knows things. You like being competent. You like being respected. And if you quit and start over, you become a beginner again. You become the person who asks the dumb questions. You become the nobody in the room. And that burns, doesn't it? I know it burns for me. I've wanted to start things and didn't because I was terrified of being seen as the guy who didn't know what he was doing. Starting a channel, starting a business, learning something new in public. You know what stopped me? Not money, not time, pride. Frank says, there is no dignity in pretending to be happy. There is no dignity in being the expert of a life you hate. Kill your pride. Be the beginner. Ask the stupid questions. Be willing to look ridiculous in public. Because here's what nobody says out loud. The people who are actually building something right now, they started looking stupid. Every single one of them. The cringe is the price. Pay it early, pay it young, pay it now. I want to tell you about a time I stayed on the wrong bus. Speak naturally. Don't script this part too tightly. And the only thing that stopped me from getting off that bus sooner was my ego. I didn't want to look like I got it wrong. Frank's words made me realize I was honoring a mistake because I'd spent time making it. And I was 24. Imagine doing that for 30 more years. Frank talks about retirement, but I want to reframe this for us, because you don't have to be 65 to fall into the retirement trap. You can retire in your 20s. Comfortable job, decent money, weekends, Netflix, no stress, no risk, no mission, just coasting. Frank watched his friends get gold watches and move to Florida and die 5 years later. Not from disease, not from cancer, from rot. He says, when you stop using a machine, it rusts. When you stop using a brain, it rots. You need a dragon to fight. His words, a dragon. Something that scares you a little, something where failure is possible, something that makes getting out of bed mean something. You don't need a gold watch to start rotting. You just need to stop choosing discomfort. The comfortable path is the most dangerous one, because it doesn't feel dangerous at all. It just feels like a normal Tuesday. Choose to burn. Don't choose to rot. Lesson 4. You are the advantage. The last thing Frank says is about energy versus efficiency. He says old people have an advantage over young people because they know the shortcuts. They walk slow because they know the way. And I thought, okay, but what's our version of that? Here's our version. We have time. Actual, real, compounding time. We have no mortgage, no regrets from 30 wasted years, no pension we're afraid to lose. We can afford to be wrong 3 times and still win. Frank says, if you apply wisdom to a new goal, you will lap the young kids. We are the young kids, which means if we apply even a fraction of discipline now, we have an unfair advantage that nobody our age is using. Most people our age are waiting to feel ready, waiting for more money, more clarity, more confidence. That's the wrong bus, by the way, and now you know what to do with the wrong bus. Stop looking at your youth as the period before your real life starts. This is your real life, right now. Today is day 1, whether you want it to be or not. Frank ends his talk with this. He says, for God's sake, don't die before you're dead. I think about that a lot. How many people are technically alive, but not actually living, just waiting for the right moment, the right sign, the right feeling. The right moment is now. Frank is 92 and he's still talking about making moves. What's your excuse? I want to ask you something. And actually answer this in the comments because I'm genuinely curious. What is the one thing you've been putting off because you were scared to look stupid starting it? Write it down right now in the comments, because saying it out loud is step one. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching this needs to read that you're starting something too. Get to work.